Hello everybody, Bearded Brush, and this is part 3 of my vlog. So, good bit of progress. I'm actually making a lot of progress in a quick space of time, which is awesome. Really pleased about that. In a nutshell, what you see here is what I've got done. So you've got the 10 warriors, my trumpet is completely finished, and also my captain, I can't see him, there he is. He is also now completely finished. And then last night I started work on cleaning up and tidying up all these parts for the Windlance, which is an awesome model in itself. It's fantastic, really good. So let's go straight into it. Let's get the captain in the showcase. So let's move the lamp a little bit, try and get a bit of a better light on him. Here we are. Look, I'm so pleased with how he's come out. I really am pleased with how he's come out. He looks fantastic. Just as the miniature itself, he looks fantastic. But I am really pleased with the paint job I've done on him. There we go. So yeah, he's got multiple layers of highlights, extra detailing on the highlight of the cloak. What I've added in. The warriors have all got at least 2 highlights on their clothes, on the edge highlights of the cloaks, on their scabbards, their belts, all that sort of stuff. But this guy, the trumpeter, I think as I've said before, or musician, however you want to call him, and obviously the standard bearer, they get a little bit extra love. So this guy, if they have 3 to 4 highlights of red for their cloak, this guy had about 6 in the end. No washes. I'm still not really one for washes. As my friends know, I tend to just do it the hard way and build up the layers bit by bit. The only wash I really use is Nuln Oil. That's obviously for the metal of the chainmail, just because it does work. It makes sense, and it works best, I find. So yeah, but loads of lovely highlights, a bit of wet blending on the cloak. Hopefully you can see the detail on the cloak there, on the layers of the highlighting, all the creases, how it's sort of been so swept by the wind and the motion that's been captured by this model. It's fantastic. Part I love the most of this cloak actually is the way it sits over the scabbard. It looks so good. That really does look so nice. It's really, you can see he's sweeping his hand back to grab the sword. The cloak has responded to his motion of the shield being swung up to draw his sword. It just looks fantastic. It really does. The model itself and the motion of the cloak is really nice. I'm not entirely sure if you would swing your shield back quite like that to bring your sword out. Unless this is very early on in the battle and he's purely getting ready, because obviously you wouldn't want to expose yourself quite like this if an enemy's charging towards you, because you're going to have spears, archers, all sorts of things raining down on you, and he's gone and swung his his shield way the hell back. So I'm guessing this is an epic "Men, we stand ready on the precipice of our dooms," sort of pose. But no, all jokes aside, awesome. And the helmet itself is wonderfully detailed. Shame about the spikes. I did try to see if I could try and do something with the spike. It's just too fiddly. It's too fiddly, and I don't want to risk trying to drill a hole into that to stick something else in it, and it might look slightly out of proportion. I won't give up. I will sort of look into it and see if I can do anything, but for the time being, I'm just going to leave it be. The same things happened to the Siege Bow boys. They've lost their spikes as well. I suppose there's not a lot Games Workshop or Forge World could do except maybe try and make it thicker, but then that could look a bit odd. But at least we give the option of a modeler the chance to try and trim it down themselves, maybe, rather than just have no option but it snap off and try and in vain to glue it back on. But either way, his skin is done nicely. I was going to paint his eyes, but honestly, it's just not worth it for the tiniest slit of like eyeball, if that's what that is there. If not, it's just eyelids. But I've left it black, and to be honest, it gives quite an imposing Doom sort of facial feature. His dark eyes peering through his weathered face of many battles and stuff. It gives a good look. Giving him a light blondie brown sort of hairstyle. The hair swoops quite nicely underneath the. Is that the coif? Is that a coif? Neck protection of the chain of the male, maybe. But either way, got it going through there. The shield, lovely in design. I do need to give it one more wash of Nuln Oil, and I do need to give it some Rhinox hide highlights on the inside, as well as a little bit of detail into the handhold, whatever you want to call it, just to give the representation of like wooden planks, give it that like the lines of the wood on the inside of the shield. But other than that, he's completely finished. Not a lot to show with this guy, to be honest. The only one whose spike did stay on. But his skin's been painted on now. Again, I've left his eye. It was just too fiddly, not really worth it, I felt, to paint his eye or even tried to do it. But just some touch-ups here and there. Highlighted the golds more now with, is it Genna's gold? Was it Ulrich? Is it Ulrich gold? The real bright, real shiny gold. Anyway, that's what I've used for the highlights. And then if I just show a couple of these guys, because you know these guys very well. But the skin's all painted, the hair's been done. Very basic highlights on the hair, because there's not a lot of hair to really sort of show off and stuff. Again, the pattern come out lovely on the cloaks. I hope you guys agree. Nice gold highlights. I've only highlighted certain points of the helmet. Makes it stand out more in my opinion. Here we got a nice spearman. I do like the spearman pose. That's a cool pose. I like that pose. Again, the shield's all done. Needs a wash of Nuln Oil just to tidy it up, and a very slight highlight again, the silver. Spear's all done. Highlights the gold again on the Ven braces. Done a little edge highlight in there. It's come out quite nicely. Helmets are good. Skin tones are easy. Skin tones, it's Cadian flesh tone with a... Oh, what was the brown I used? I used a brown. What did I use? Is it Mornfang brown? That normally is my go-to blend. Or was it Scrag brown? Either way, it was a... The darkest shade, it was Mornfang. The lightest would have been like Scrag brown, something like that. And that was a sort of 75% Cadian flesh tone, 25% of the brown as a base colour. And then literally just Cadian flesh tone as it is for one little highlight on the facial features, because there wasn't a lot of point, I felt, in trying to sort of really overdo it and go for loads of detail. Another shield here that I need to work on, adding in them sort of the wooden pattern, that the veins of the wood, you know, add that in at some point. But yeah, these guys are done, and it's nice to have them done, as I've said before in a couple of the videos now, or the previous two videos. The yellow, I am pleased with how the yellow and how the patterns turned out on the cloaks. I'm really pleased with that, I must say. I've sort of perfected the recipe now for these guys. So when I go to repaint the 10 warriors that I've got from, previous, you know, what I painted 6 years ago, I can go over them and match them up with these newer painted guys much easier, which would be very nice to do. I'm looking forward to getting that all finished. And they won't take too long to tidy up, because they've got all the same colours now, really, which is awesome. So it's just a case of matching them up with these guys, and then they're done. So yeah, I'll have a total of... Oh yeah, I've done little edge gold highlights, and obviously the bar. Again, the detail on the quills. Is it the quills? No, it's the quills. The arrow holding device. There you go. I really need to read up a bit more. I used to know a lot of these words, their descriptions on what things are and that, but I sort of flip between interests. So I'll study hard on a subject, then move on to another interest, and before you know it, I'm starting to forget things of what I'd already studied up on. But never mind, we live in that. But yeah, I've got 30 warriors. I've got 3 captains now, 2 of the classic captains, 1 of the new... No, tell a lie, 3 of the old captains, sorry. The new captain, got the hornblower, got the standard bearer, and obviously got Girion. Girion I'm going to give a repaint as well. I was hoping to buy a new Girion, but I've missed out on that chance. Should have grabbed it whilst I could years ago. He's been out for years, but I couldn't justify spending money on getting another model of him. So it's okay, it doesn't matter. I can just strip him down a little bit and repaint him. It's not a problem, but it's always nice to have a fresh model to paint with, I always feel. So yeah, next project, or next section, is going to be working on this, which I'll show in a second. But it's going to be working on the siege bow, also tonight, with any luck. I'm working on loads of bases for these guys. Again, like I said before, so I've got 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, I've got about 26, 27 bases. Half of them, I'm going to put a fine layer of milliput on. And we're going to then sculpt out the cobblestone effect to match the dale sort of flooring of the city. That's the plan. I'll say cobblestone, stone, the sort of cobbly stone. If you look, there's a few variants I felt. By the way, I'll do that. And then with the other half, there'll be your standard sand-based, coloured, flocked, and whatnotted bases. I'm contemplating with the Windlance of maybe making... See, so if we move on to the Windlance, bear with me. So these pieces, I mean, look at the detail of this. This is so cool. And that's obviously the main stand for it. Interesting note, there's 2 holes here, but I can't see that this never had any holes on it. So it's got instructions, so it's not an issue. But I'm kind of I'm kind of at a loss as to what the holes are for. I'm guessing that there's something meant to be on here to match up there. That don't matter. It's not the end of the world. But it's just kind of a weird little sort of thing that there's nothing really there to sort of go. But base, they'll be like that. So bear in mind the base thing I was just saying about. Thinking of maybe with milliput or some styrofoam, making a little wall section to add there to tie it in again with the fact that this could be seen or imagined to be mounted on top of one of the towers of Dale. It's just an idea. I may not do it as I build this and paint it. I might think, oh, do you know what, that'd be too much. I'll leave it, or I could make an additional scenic base for this to sit in, to have as a thing, and I could use it in the game and whatnot. Who knows? Not to create an unfair advantage, obviously. I'll just say ignore the wall and pretend it's not there, and we'll play as normal. But just to give it a look of something a bit more thematic. But yes, that's that idea. So we've got the 2 base pieces for the Windlance siege bow. It's awesome. The instructions look really good. Actually, Games Workshop's instructions have always been somewhat of a mixed bag affair. Back in the good old days, the 90s and stuff, a lot of the time we just had to sort of suss things out. So obviously got another piece there. This isn't exactly the right way round, to be fair. It's completely the wrong way round, actually. Little hole there, and there's a little overhang there. You've got to be careful of that, because if not, you'll end up chopping it off. I very nearly did. But that's how that sort of sits on. It's best I can show you, like that. You've got another 2 pieces here, obviously. They'll sit opposite to the main section of the bow with the bolt on already. I call it a bolt. There you go. So these will sit, obviously, in there, sort of, kinda, sort of, that kind of way, I guess. Like that-ish. Something like that. Maybe need a bit of milliput just to fill the gaps in as well. Obviously, this will then fit, or sit, I should say, onto here or there somewhere. I can't see the instructions at this moment in time, so I can't accurately show you. And obviously this will then sit in there, like so, give or take, something like that. So it's going to look awesome when it's all built up. I won't go into too much detail with the guys here, but the detail on these guys is fantastic. Really good, and very little to clean up, actually. I found these refreshing, the fact there's hardly any overhang mould lines. Oh, tell a lie, look, there's just one under his arm there. Maybe a little bit. No, it's his cloak. Just one tiny little groove there. But apart from that, they have really... Oh, another one there. Do you know what? I think I might have missed this guy. This was late at night when I was doing this last night. But having said that, they are very, very, they're not needed to be tidied up too much. Oh, there you go. This is the one I did yesterday. He only had a few bits on. There's actually nothing... I'm thinking I should give it a fine look just in case. Nah, much better. Yeah, much better. But yeah, the detail's just fantastic. There's no cleanup needed at all on these guys. A few bits and bobs here and there, but the detail's just fantastic. The helmet, I mean, look at that helmet. That is so good. Looking forward to painting these 2 guys up, because I will give them a bit more detail because of what they are. I'll give them the same treatment as the captain and the banner bearer and stuff. But they're just so good. They really are. And their beards are fantastic. I mean, look at that beard. That's my sort of beard. I love a beard bead. He's got a beard bead. That's awesome. He must be the first Dale warrior to have a beard bead in it. I'd say he's probably got some beard beads from the old local dwarf populace. Awesome little bolt there as well. I call it a bolt because that's a massive arrow. To me, that's more of like a bolt thrower type bolt than an arrow. But there we go. Awesome little scabbard with the sword in its sheath, in its scabbard, I should say. That lovely detail there. Really nice. There's a little groove that sticks out, and to me that looks intentional. It's quite thick. As I was cleaning this up, that seemed to stick out. I think it's got something to do with it being held by one of the dudes down there. But yeah, that is everything. I keep touching my light. I've got a new lamp. It's really good, but it's so touchy. If you touch it slightly, it dims instantly. But yeah, that is everything so far. All being well, get some more basing stuff done tonight. And then I can start work on getting these guys put onto their bases, get that bit finished off. Working on this as well at the same time. I'm going to clean it, get it undercoat and stuff tonight with any luck, or over the next few days anyway. And then what I'll probably do is finish off the army completely by just repainting up my original warriors and my Girion. And that will be it then. So yeah, very exciting times. I'm pleased I'm making some reasonably decent progress. Yeah, it's all going well. Oh, and you can see in the background I just had a new one of these turn up as well. I'm going to be working on relocating this so the turret and the thing actually sits further back. I want to turn this Chimera into a command looking Chimera, and then eventually I'm going to get another Chimera, completely rebuild it and redesign it to make it look like a salamander command vehicle. That would be awesome. But yeah, that's for another time. So I'll leave it there, guys. Take care. Thank you for watching as always. I think I've had a couple of new subscribers recently, which is very much appreciated. Thank you ever so much for that. I think I've had 2 new people join the bearded brush awesomeness. So I'm very humbled by that, and thank you. Have an awesome day, guys, and I'll see you soon.